Someone under the handle Coach Dave Doran's Burner via Twitter, not sure it's a legal name or not, hit me up and said, hey, what are your 5 bucket list college football traditions? Now, a bucket list is normally stuff you want to do that you haven't done yet. I've been able to do some of these. Some of these are still on the old bucket list. And the only rule is you just got to do them before you die. I am not scheduled to do that anytime soon. Hopefully we get to make some trips this fall. But I will tell you a couple I've already been a part of. This is my list. If you disagree with it, that's fine. You can have your own list. I don't just wear this white t-shirt because it looks good. I went to Penn State. I saw the whiteout. I want to remember it every show. Auburn was in town. It was like a Super Bowl kind of mixed with a Kiss concert, kind of mixed with WrestleMania, and everyone wearing white in the meantime. I told Jesse, because Jesse went to Penn State, and he told me, hey, it's going to be great, it's going to be great. But you know what? You experience it for yourself. This is iJosh footage that you're watching. If you're watching on your screen, that's not the ABC feed. That is. But the other shot was not. This was incredible. What an incredible night. So we went up there, and I had high expectations, and it exceeded my expectations. What stood out to me the most, and why I would always encourage you, I don't even care if you're not a fan of any of the teams playing in the game, why I would encourage you to experience the whiteout is because it's a spectacle. It takes your eyes a little while to adjust to it. And the second thing is, I've never seen another college football crowd that takes as active a role in being a participant in the event as the whiteout crowd at Penn State. Now, that's the only Penn State game I've been to, but I'm just telling you, they build it up and they build it up and they build it up, and there's some cynical people out there. I know, I'm friends with several, who look at that and they say, oh man, people make a big deal about that. It's all about blocking and tackling. It's all about execution. And yes, it is about that. I am here to humbly suggest to you that sort of environment is high level enough that it can impact your ability to do those things. I think it impacted Auburn's ability to do it that night. The whiteout record at Penn State and the performance in whiteout games by the opponent versus non-whiteout games is indisputable. And we didn't compile that list, so I'm not going to present it to you tonight. But I'm just telling you, those folks know they've got a role, they got a job to do, and those people walk in the stadium as focused as the left tackle. They just have different jobs, but everyone does it, and it's a beautiful thing. The Red River Shootout, which will be known by no other name on this program, is a game, but it's a tradition to me. Again, I grew up in rural Georgia. I thought they were overhyping it. Told the story many times now. I'm not gonna go too far down the road here, but 2 years ago I went. Big noon kickoff. It's always a noon kickoff. Love the noon kickoff. 11 a.m. local time. Someone asked me the other day, is there something you've switched your opinion on in college football? There's nothing I've switched my opinion on more radically than loving noon kickoffs. I used to detest noon kickoffs because I wasn't going to the games. I didn't have to catch a flight afterwards. Now I do. I love noon kickoffs. The Cotton Bowl is where this game should always be. Noon, 11 a.m. local time, is when it should always kick off. And OU, Texas, just a perfect environment. Everything about what I experienced was perfect. Now, that was 2 years ago when it was a shootout. This past year, it was a Sarah McLachlan special, and it probably wasn't very special for Oklahoma fans to witness, those of you who stuck it out to the end. But what I got to witness a couple of years ago, I would also encourage you. Don't care if you're a fan of either team. Just go, find out how right I am about it. One of the things I got to do that unless you get credential for the sideline, you're probably not going to be able to squeeze in, is the Cotton Bowl is a single-tiered stadium. There's just one tunnel that comes into it. It's a one-tunnel stadium. It's kind of like the Big House at Michigan, just one tunnel. And everyone uses it. Halftime hits. I march myself up that tunnel. I go out into the Texas State Fair. Funnel cake. Still had the powder on my face when the third quarter started. But I walked myself back down that ramp, right ahead of the teams, actually. I think I walked out of the tunnel with Oklahoma, taking the field for the start of the third quarter. I challenge you, where else in life could you get such that overflow of sensory, well, it's a sensory overload every time you go to a college football game, but you get that, then you get to just pound sugar at halftime in the fair, no less. And then you come back in, and then you see a conclusion of one of the great rivalries in college football. Everything about it is what they say it is what I'm telling you. Let's go to Blacksburg, Virginia. I haven't been able to go. I've never been to a game at Virginia Tech. I have both of my fists clenched right now. let's just clasp. I am pleading with Brent Pry, and I am pleading with everyone in this program. Please make this program relevant again nationally so that I can have a reason to go up there and experience Enter Sandman. It's one of the things. If I had the grease board in here right now, one of the things I would have written on the grease board is, how have I missed out on Enter Sandman? How in a world now where I get to choose the game I go to every week, how has Virginia Tech not been on the radar enough for me to be able to get up there? And when I was a youth in Georgia, Virginia Tech mattered big time. Virginia Tech was a national championship contender. And now all of a sudden, not so much. That's okay. It's cyclical. Hopefully, cyclical means we're going to get that again. It's not just a downward trajectory. Enter Sandman's incredible. That's one of those things where if you know Virginia Tech's playing a big game, it's not an option to tune in with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter, because these major broadcast networks do it right. They show you that entrance, and the production is kind of built around that Enter Sandman entrance. Man, what a spectacle that is, too, weather permitting. So that I haven't witnessed. Another pregame tradition, and I guess an in-game tradition that I have witnessed, is Sandstorm at South Carolina. Now, I've been on record as telling you I think South Carolina is the most underrated home field environment in all of college football. When you account for what the reputation is of places. Like everyone knows Neyland Stadium, everyone knows Death Valley, everyone knows those places. You know about Williams-Brice Stadium. I just never see you guys put it on your list of most intimidating environments, and I do, and I've witnessed it several times. I've been there when they play Bama. I've been there when they play Georgia. It's incredible. When they do Sandstorm, though, which I'm not going to try and replicate vocally for you, but when they do Sandstorm, not only is it loud, not only does everyone jump up and down, but there's coordination, and they chant USC, USC, and they have towels in their hand, too. I heard about that before I went up there. And again, your boy over here, just a kid from rural Georgia, I'm sitting there thinking, how magical can it be? They don't have the capacity of Sanford Stadium. They don't have the capacity of Neyland or Bryant-Denny. So it can't be any better than those places. And I'm not telling you it's better. I'm just telling you that one thing they do measures up against anything else I see in the SEC. I would also say that the Tom Petty at Florida is pretty new. They only started doing it in the last few years. I was there the first year they did that. I really like that, too. The last one, stay in the state of Florida. Chief Osceola down at Doak Campbell Stadium at Florida State, which I called Doak Walker Stadium last month, and I continue to apologize for. This, I think, if Mike Norvell is on to what I think he's on to, and he's going to get Florida State back to national prominence, this is going to be something that gets paid a lot more attention to. You see, if you're in your late teens, early 20s, you don't know Florida State. You just know it's a football program, a middling football program at that, in the SC or in the ACC for now. You don't know Florida State. You don't know Bobby Bowden's Florida State. You don't know them being one of the most feared entities in this sport. But it could be again. And when that happens, when Chief Osceola rides out and throws that flaming spear into midfield, and you actually, if you're media, you get to stand on the field. You can see him right there. On the 50, I got to see this, I think, one of the last big games Florida State played. I was there. It was Clemson and Deshaun Watson back in 2016, I believe, 15 or 16. They came in there, and Florida State had him on the ropes, and Watson did what he did in college, and they come back and they win. But I got to witness that night. Got a speeding ticket on the way home, by the way. Thomasville, Georgia. Be careful, folks. But I witnessed that night, and I remember thinking to myself, growing up a Braves fan, it was the first time I'd ever heard the Tomahawk Chop in a venue that wasn't named Turner Field or Fulton County Stadium. And the other thing about that was I remember thinking, it's a shame Florida State lost this. Like, it's a shame they can't be in the national spotlight more, because that right there would be something you tune into a game early just to be able to see. And also, the Aggie War Hymn I wanted to wrap up with. I took a lot of flack for defending Texas A&M last year. I don't know why. I certainly hope you didn't think it was going to deter me from defending Texas A&M. I just feel like I get Texas A&M. I'm not from there. I didn't graduate from there. I didn't grow up in Texas. I have a very, very firm appreciation for why they are the way they are, why they appreciate the things they appreciate, and why they act the way they act. I don't say that pejoratively. Pretty much everyone else does. That's okay. I've been out there for a few games now. The Aggie War Hymn, not quite sure what you guys are saying. I just know it's really loud. And the swaying back and forth. There's such a reputation when they do that. I think you're watching right now iJosh footage as well. There's such a reputation when they do that people who have covered games at Kyle Field and sit in the press box talk about how the entire stadium shakes. And I did believe that because enough reputable people had told me. But last game, I normally stand on the field the whole game. I ran up to the press box just so I could feel it. They were right. It feels very dangerous. I'm not an architect. They tell me that place is structurally sound. I will tell you after it was over, I hastily got myself back down to field level because I really do feel safe down there, unless Lane Kiffin has rolled into Knoxville, Tennessee. Last time I didn't feel safe on the field. But other than that, I normally feel pretty safe. But the Aggie War Hymn and the swaying back and forth when it's being played, wow, again, kind of takes your eyes a second to adjust. So anyway, those are some of the things. If you're making a college football bucket list now, those are some of the things that I would suggest you add on.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Make sure you like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Not just for me, that's how we keep this entire thing free.